Sweet Sarah Haley Foxwell, nicknamed by her family Haley Bug.
She hated it. When she hit that age 11, she was like, my name's Sarah, not Haley Bug.
She's outspoken, a shining star in her 6th grade class in Salisbury, Maryland.
Talk to me about Sarah.
She comes from a family of 9 children, and she was right there smack in the middle, and she was the one that was the referee, the lover, the hugger, the one that always had a smile no matter how bad her day was. She always had a smile.
And many days were rough for the Foxwell family. As a single parent, Jennifer was struggling to make it, so Sarah and her siblings were temporarily staying with Jennifer's dad and her sister Amy at this converted barn house.
It's been a hard road for you.
Yeah, it's been a hard road for all of us.
But Jennifer was working overtime, determined to make this the perfect Christmas for all her kids.
Everybody wanted these weird things for Christmas that year, and Sarah wanted a pair of Chuck Taylors. I didn't even know what they were.
December 22nd, as the sun goes down, the temperature dips below freezing, and snow falling outside guarantees a white Christmas.
They were running around the house, goofing off. They had had pizza the night before.
Around 9, Sarah and her 6-year-old sister Emma playfully skip off to bed. The girls share a room at the end of a long hall, right next to the back door. That sweet moment shared by the sisters now haunts Jennifer.
Everybody was just being silly because it was literally like 2 days away from Christmas.
Just 10 hours later, Jennifer gets a disturbing call from her sister Amy.
She said, Sarah's not in her room. Her shoes are here. Her jacket's here. She's not in the house. She's not outside the house.
She vanished.
We don't know where she's at. There was snow on the ground. It was 25 degrees outside. I knew immediately something was wrong.
Sarah's family calls the sheriff's department immediately.
When you first got that phone call and realized an 11-year-old had been missing, did you get that sinking feeling?
We did. It wasn't just a simple missing person call. There was more to this one than others.
Sergeant David Owens, Sheriff Mike Lewis, and the entire Wicomico Sheriff's Department descend on the old barn house. Terrified, they have a kidnapping on their hands.
Every sheriff's deputy at this office came back to work. They did not want to spend Christmas with their families while this little girl was still missing.
In the chaos, Sheriff Lewis makes a promise to the distraught mom.
He puts his arm around me and says to me, I want you to know that I will do everything in my power to bring her home to you. And I looked at him and I said, I'm going to hold you to that.
With less than 48 hours before Christmas, they begin desperately searching for Sarah.
They were looking inside the house and outside the house for like whether or not somebody broke in.
Was there forced entry into the house?
No.
The front door and all the windows were locked up tight, but when cops checked the back door right next to the girl's room, they walked right in. They also noticed Sarah's green toothbrush was missing from the bathroom. But there was one thing no one could explain.
The dog didn't even bark.
Then Sarah's Aunt Amy suddenly remembers a key hidden outside for emergencies.
She kept the spare key under like this little ceramic frog on the front porch.
But when she went to look for that key, it's missing. And little Sarah's family now knows she's in big trouble. The sheriff's office immediately issues a statewide Amber Alert. Sarah has without a doubt been abducted.
Once the Amber Alert was issued, I felt like my whole world had crashed.
Then it hits them. Whoever took Sarah knew about the key. The kidnapper was someone that knew them and where Sarah was sleeping.
This is as bad as it can be.
Then, out of the shadows, a frightened little voice confirms their nightmare. Sarah's 6-year-old sister, Emma, says she has a secret to tell.
Emma's telling them somebody took her. She knew him.
Sweet, innocent Sarah Foxwell ripped out from under her covers just 2 days before Christmas.
This little girl was kidnapped from her bed in the middle of the night while wearing her pajamas.
Was she snatched by a stranger? That's what cops first believe. Then clues tell them it is something they can barely stomach. The family dog never barked, and the 11-year-old's green toothbrush is missing.
It shook us all to our core. It really did.
Their worst fears are confirmed by Sarah's terrified little sister, Emma. She tugs on her grandma's nightgown, looks up, and blurts out, "I saw the man who took Sarah."
What he was wearing, what he looked like, everything.
She was 6 at the time.
She was 6. She knew him.
The 6-year-old pretended to be asleep, but instead watched and listened to every sickening thing the monster said to her big sister.
What did he say to her?
Emma has not disclosed that yet, but she was able to identify him because she knew him.
She knew him? The hair suddenly stands up on the back of everyone's neck.
Emma pulled my mother aside and told my mother that Tommy took her. And my mom was like, "What do you mean?"
Tommy is Thomas Legs Jr. He's Aunt Amy's former boyfriend, and he is no stranger to the Wicomico Sheriff's Department either.
Thomas Legs is a predator of young girls.
Cops pull up his rap sheet, and their hearts sink. The 30-year-old has a long history of molesting girls.
He defines the worst of a sex offender.
And this guy has already done hard time. Thomas Legs Jr. had been sentenced to 7 years in prison for the 4th-degree rape of a teenager and served 6 months for a 3rd-degree sex offense involving a child. And just a few months before kidnapping Sarah, Legs was arrested again, this time for assaulting a young woman. That attack was eerily similar to Sarah's.
He crawled through her window in the middle of the night, and she woke up and saw him standing there with his clothing on the floor, committing a sexual act while watching her sleep. This is the kind of guy we were dealing with.
So he was out on bond when this happened.
Yes, ma'am, he was.
The sheriff says when he met Sarah's Aunt Amy, she had no idea she was opening the door to a monster.
Sometime early in that relationship, she had recognized that he was a registered sex offender. And so in true fashion for a seasoned sex offender, he was able to convince her that he wasn't a bad guy, that he was okay, it was just some things that had caused him to have to be there, but wasn't a big deal. She allowed that to become her belief system. There came a point in time that he was in the house on a regular basis.
During those visits, cops say Legs became disturbingly close to young Sarah.
Something about Sarah fancied him.
Cops say the predator started planning his sick attack.
Do you think he was plotting and stalking and trying to figure out when he was going to make his move on her?
I absolutely think he was plotting. It was all ripe for the picking. He knew how to access the house. He knew where the hiding key was. This night in question just became the night that I guess he was ready.
He knew exactly which room Sarah was sleeping in.
He went straight to her bedroom.
And how do you think he got her out of the house?
Sarah knew him, and he had become, unfortunately, a trusted person in the home.
Why do you think he didn't take Emma that night?
She wasn't his target. He was obsessed with Sarah as his target.
Frantic deputies tracked down Legs to the shed where he lived on his parents' property.
When we searched his shed, it was full of pornographic magazines and pornographic videos. It just makes your skin crawl.
There's no sign of Sarah, but based on her 6-year-old sister's positive ID, deputies haul Legs in for questioning.
Do you think he was surprised?
Not at all. He never showed any emotion.
For the next several hours, we interrogated him.
How do you feel about all this? I mean, really?
Indescribable. I mean, I'm being accused of, excuse me, let me rephrase that. Y'all haven't actually said I've done it. I'm being suspected of kidnapping an 11-year-old girl of my ex-girlfriend who knew I was a registered sex offender, with a 6-year-old girl saying that she supposedly saw me there. I'm pissed.
Mm-hmm.
I've been dealing with it for the last 10 years.
Was he forthcoming?
Not at all. Denial, denial, denial.
What was your relationship with the girls? I mean, did they like you? I mean,
we all seem to got along great. Try to be very cautious around the younger girls because of my past and everything else, just so there's no mistakes. I don't be alone with them or anything like that. Okay. And which, if you talk to Amy, she should be able to confirm I was never alone with them whenever we were together, so.
Do you still have contact with the girls at all? So once you guys were done, that was it, right?
That was it. I wouldn't have no reason to have contact with them.
When asked why Emma would point the finger at him, Legs actually claims the 6-year-old was a troublemaker.
Amy said she was a little handful of stuff, and she said a couple things she'd done, but...
Did she tend to get in trouble more than the others or anything?
Did she do little odd things?
I knew within a few minutes that he had definitely committed the crime.
How did you know?
The way he snickered and smiled at my detectives, it was clear that he thought that he had committed the perfect crime.
There's just one problem. Legs tells detectives he has an ironclad alibi.
You went into break time last night with Kevin, right?
Yes.
And just him, just you two?
Yes.
Okay.
Police verify Legs was with a friend at a local bar, but no one, including his parents, can confirm his whereabouts between 1 and 7 o'clock that morning, the time Sarah went missing.
He had our man. We were just going to have to prove it.
And they are about to. Proof was in Legs' gold pickup truck, right there on the floorboard. Sarah's green toothbrush. But where was Sarah?
Everyone hung on to hope that we could save her life.
11-year-old Sarah Foxwell thought Thomas Legs Jr. was someone she could trust, who would protect her. Sweet Sarah had no idea he was really a serial predator with a fetish for young girls. And when Legs appeared in Sarah's bedroom just 2 nights before Christmas, she was his target.
Santa Claus is supposed to be the one coming in and out of the chimney for young children. Instead, it was Thomas Legs sneaking through the house like the Grinch and taking Sarah from her bedroom.
What Legs didn't know was Sarah's little sister Emma pretended she was asleep, but Emma saw everything.
And if it wasn't for that little 6-year-old girl.
She put us onto him so quickly. So quickly. He's the man I saw in our bedroom in the middle of the night. He's the man that kidnapped my sister.
Wicomico County investigators immediately hunt down Thomas Legs, but when they haul him in for questioning, he denies taking Sarah.
And the last time you were there, same thing, like month and a half.
Deputies don't believe a word of it. Then evidence starts piling up. Sarah's missing green toothbrush is found in Legs' pickup truck. The tire marks in the snow near the family house from that night match his truck. And then cops make a discovery so vile, it makes prosecutor Abby Marsh's blood boil.